Yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna start this video with throwing hands. I don't even know what topic I'm gonna talk about. You know what? I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about anger. I used to have some serious anger issues, and when I was younger, I had a type of anger issues that if anybody said anything to me that I thought was disrespectful, I was ready to throw hands, you know. And I had the anger issues that when I was angry, I felt invincible. Like that's the dangerous type of anger, you know. I'm a fairly big guy, but when I was angry, it didn't matter who it was, it didn't matter how many people it was, I felt invincible. And I was like Samson. You know how like Samson will get mad in the Bible and he just start wrecking everything? That's how I felt. Luckily, I wasn't foolish enough to act on my anger all the time, but I seriously had anger issues. And I had to overcome this a hard way. But because I've done this, I know it's possible. So this video is going to be about how I overcame my anger issues. Um, and honestly, it was a process. So when I was 18, I went to a Christian college and I wanted to work on my anger. So I just went all the way out to Oklahoma by my lonely. I didn't know anything about it. But in my head, I had this kind of like, I'm an extreme person. So I had it in my head that, I had to go all the way to Oklahoma to meet God, and that ignorance has, I don't know, I guess that if you want to call it ignorance or just that level of seriousness, delusion, who knows? But I believe that I needed to go to Oklahoma to be able to have more God. And uh, I won't say the name of my school, but I went to a private Christian college there. And actually, I mean, it really doesn't matter if I say the school, but either way, it doesn't matter. And man, I would get in situations at that school that let me know that when you have anger, people will be so ready to like judge you. And the thing is people are not really built like that. That's what lets you know, like a lot of people have that front. There's some people that like are about that action, and then there's others that is just a front. And I've never been someone that's ever really wanted problems, but I was always a person that um, if problems came my way, I was ready to meet it head on. I would try to avoid things at all costs. I tried to avoid things. But once you got me mad, I was ready to face anything head on. And I remember this one time. So I was probably around like 19, around the age of 19. And mind you, I had the type of anger that I was willing to go all the way. So if someone said something, uh, I was not emotionally uh, capable in that moment to be able to know that what I was doing was wrong, or at least I wasn't rational enough to know what I was doing was wrong. I had a lot of anger from just the way that I grew up and the things that I experienced in life. And to me, that's not an excuse, but I really had that type of anger that you see people uh, dead or in jail, or doing something really, really crazy. And I never went to therapy for it, anything. I did the hard work. And so I told myself, my first attempt to do this, like I told myself that, you know what, if I just don't if I just don't act on my anger, then that means I beat my anger. And so I would be in so many scenarios that would get me angry or get me, that I would normally be bothered by and all of that. And I was just like, oh yeah, you know what, since I didn't act on it, since I didn't knock this guy out, since I didn't cuss this person out. Okay, that means I'm good. Mind you, all the whole time, I loved God. I've loved God my whole life. So it's really interesting that a person can have this level of like anger and what it can cause you to do. I think that's why in the Bible it says be angry but sin not. But I was really with it, you know. And I came across too many scenarios, man, that people would try to try me, you know, people would try to show out. And I'm not really with it. I like people to be authentic, but I'm very big on respect. And so I remember this one time, I think it was like my sophomore year. It was my sophomore year. And this is how I learned the hard way that I still had some anger problems. So I was in a room and was watching football. And at the time, I used to play football. I just took a break before. At that time, I still was thinking about wanting to go D1. My school was a D1 school, but it didn't have a football team. They just had basketball and everything. So I was planning on transferring. And everyone would say, "Oh, yo, why don't you transfer?" But I knew a lot about football at the time, and I was in great shape. And so we were watching a football game with some people, and then there was a dude that probably used to play football, but he had this kind of like arrogance to him because he was the rich kid with a uh, just the rich kid backing and everything. And I had some people in the room at the time, and we were watching football, and I was talking about something, and he just starts cuss. He just like, "Yo, you don't know what the f you're talking about." He started talking to me crazy, right? And I was like, "Hey, man, don't talk to me like that. Yo, watch who you talking to." Like I'm just like I'm dead in that right away. I'm like, "Yo, who's dude?" And then I think he calls me a bitch. He was like, "Man, yo, you're a bitch," or so he said something like that, right? And from where I come from, we don't play that. So when he did that, I was just like, I flipped out. I was like, "Yo!" And at the time, I was just like, man, I was even shocked in myself in that moment. I was like, "Yo, dang, this dude!" Like, I was really pissed off, and everybody's laughing. They really thought I was joking. So I walked out of the room. I've never done this before in my life. I was heated, and so I started pacing because I walked away, and I'm just like, man, I'm pacing, and I'm still so mad. And I was like, all right, yeah, you know what? I'm about to cook this dude real quick. You know, like I did not care. I was about to cook him. I don't care who else was in the room. If anybody was trying to defend it, I was gonna cook them because they were supporting that. And uh, so at the time, I was like, yo, open the door. I was like, yo, you guys open the door real quick. Let me come in. And they wouldn't open the door, and I was heated. I started punching the door. I was trying to break the door down. Never did that before in my life, right? And I tried to break the door down. I didn't know those doors were like mahogany doors. I did not know that. Like I said, I've never hit a door. Doors in the hood. If you kick it, you go. I don't know what type of wood those things are made out of. They're made out of cardboard. But yeah, I was so heated, and I'm hitting it. I'm hitting the door. I'm trying to break it down. Then when I was like, yo, come out. Yo, I was heated. I ended up. They wouldn't open the door. I went to my room. I remember chilling in my room for like 3 days. I was just like, I was heated, and I just know my hand was hurting for like 3 days. And I was like, yo, I gotta go to the doctor because my hand was swollen like the size, twice its size. Found out I got a boxer's break. I broke my hand. So I was walking around like for 3 days. The doctor looking at me like, yo, why didn't you come here? I'm like, yo, I didn't even know, because I have a high pain tolerance, right? And it's crazy because uh, that moment let me know that I still had my anger and that I had to change what I looked at as disrespect. And I had to change the way that I was willing to respond. It was that moment, you know. Luckily, they didn't open the door because I definitely would have, that would have been his face, definitely. And, but that really let me know because one, a lot of people saw me differently that day, right? And one, they saw someone that they could not play with that way, right? to be honest, I don't think nobody played with me like that again. So they saw someone that they couldn't play with like that. But also, there was so much. I remember that because that dude was like a popular dude, and there was so much events, and a lot of my friends were connected there. But it was like this kind of a thing for like 2 3 years that like we kind of had this kind of like any type of run in, we just would just say what's up from a distance and all that because like he remembered like yo, this dude ain't playing that, you know, and yeah, I just never forgot that. But I was constantly reminded that because I couldn't control myself, I had a broken hand. That broken hand was a result of me not controlling myself, me not doing the right work. And I thank God for that experience because I've never done that again. I think it was 19. And, but from then on, I was like, yo, I had to change what I looked at as disrespect because it honestly, and it was a process. It was a process. I would just get into scenarios and I would say, all right, there's a difference between reacting and responding. How do I respond? How do I respond? How do I respond? So much so that over some time now, like if you look at how I am today, I think I'm going to be honest. I think I'm a softie compared to who I used to be. I can't remember the last time I've been mad, like at all. I can't remember the last time, and it's crazy because I never saw myself this way. Like in a way, my anger was my protection, you know. And when I was angry, I was invincible. I was really invincible. Like I was really willing to go all the way. And if you know what I'm saying by that. And there's so many people in this world that had that type of anger or operated in that type of way. And you know, you see where they are in their life today, if they're even here with us, you know. And I definitely did that the hard way. I did it with God and by myself. I didn't do it with anybody else at all. So that's why it's not an excuse for anybody to be able to have anger problems. It's not an excuse for anybody to be okay with allowing themselves to be overwhelmed with anger or letting their anger control them. And speaking as someone that has had all the anger in the world, it's possible for you to be able to do it yourself. It's so much easier to do it if you have someone that's, you know, you have a safe space and someone can talk to you. And, you know, when you're angry, they just tell you, hey, you know what, calm down. Hey, let's talk about it. And, you know, they can help you settle down. So much easier. Uh, but yeah, I did that. And now, like, yo, I honestly think, like, the more I became, like, a believer, it made me so much softer. Um, but that's its own thing, right? That's its own thing. But it made me softer in certain ways. But I do think that now, I think the only thing now that would get me mad is only if I'm like protecting somebody. So now you can call me you can call me whatever you want, and you can come at me any kind of way. I'm gonna stand my ground. Don't get me wrong. Even when someone's trying to try me, I'm not mad. That's the interesting thing. I'm so calm, even though I know I'm gonna eliminate the threat. I'm calm. The only time you'll probably see me mad is if I'm like protecting a woman I care about, protecting my mom, you know, my sisters, and probably even like my homies. Like that's probably the only time you'll see that if I'm protecting somebody else. But for myself, man, I'll let it slide. It's almost like I don't even care about protecting myself in that type of way. It's usually unless someone's just threatening me, and then you know they got to be all threats should be taken seriously. But yeah, I just thought about that because I remember when I was angry, I was always ready. That's not even the way to throw punches. But that's how that's how I felt, man. I was ready to just like swing on anything. Hey, yo, I don't like your shoes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, your breath stinks. Hey, yo, you black. Hey, yo, you can't. Good morning. Anything. Yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about in that video. Yeah, learn to control your emotions. It's really important. Find someone that you can talk to, and it's okay. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Nobody has it all figured out, but you must be able to control your emotions. The most important thing you can do, especially as a man, is to know how to control your emotions. That was one of the most important things that I've earned in life. I earned the ability to control my emotions, and that has helped me with everything. So much so now, I'm in a constant state of like not feeling. It's like this in between of peace and just not feeling at all. It's just level of neutrality. And I believe that once you're in that state, that's the best state to be able to be in to navigate life and everything. Um, I can get into that deep on a deeper level in another video, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about the journey of anger. And trust me, I have a lot of stories and a lot of things, but I don't want to make this video long. And honestly, there's probably much more interesting things that I could talk about in details about my anger, but that was a quick summary, just a quick summary of the situations that I've been in and to let you know where I was and where I currently am now. And you know, it was a journey in between, but I had no mold or no example of what it looked like for that journey. And so, if anyone ever wants to see what the end result of that could look like, I'm a perfect example of that right now. So, yeah, it's possible. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If you're a guy or you're a woman that gets mad and gets overwhelmed by all these things and you start crashing out, you know, get your emotions in check. People won't want to be around you. People will talk junk behind your back. People will be scared of you. And you don't want people to be scared of you. You want people to respect you, not be scared of you. In regards to anything else, there's nothing else I can think of that I want to put in this video. So, yeah, be audacious.